Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for today's Six Nations Round 3 review. Pretty much the moving round, I think, really. It's the officially sort of past the halfway stage of the competition, and this is usually when, talks of Grand Slams, talks of titles really sort of take that step forward because, often, teams, Six Nations is always sort of really competed by sort of 2 to 3 teams often. Maybe a fourth side is usually in the works, but after round 3, we sort of usually whittle it down to about 3 teams. And, when it comes to, for example, like Grand Slam talks, it is very rare that, two teams that have gone undefeated in the first 2 don't tend to be playing each other in sort of the third round. And that's what we had this weekend. So there's only one team where the Grand Slam is still possible. However, the tournament itself is still very much up for grabs. And but very much islands to lose. And we saw some very interesting results and also a bit of a mundane game, with the match thing between England versus Wales probably having been the worst match of the tournament so far, which is harsh. I don't think it's actually that harsh. It wasn't a great game of rugby, but I think it also shows you how good the quality of rugby genuinely has been in the Six Nations so far. Before we look at the log and the results and sort of talk about some of the games, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. It all started with Italy taking on Ireland. And I thought, this was my favorite game of the weekend. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. And Ireland winning 34 points to 20, which is a 14-point win. But I think more importantly, let's talk about Italy, who, in the first week ran France close. They lost by just 5 points. In the second week wasn't their best performance. And England quite comfortably sort of swept them past a really poor first half performance from Italy was sort of the difference. But then to go up against the world number ones as a side who I think are currently ranked outside top 10 even, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And to get within, and they were basically within 4 to 7 points for about 65 to 70 minutes almost of the entire match and never went away. And I think, for me, it was a bit of a watershed moment to see Italy going toe-to-toe with the best side in the world and competing. And I thought that it was a very entertaining game. I thought Ireland played very well in parts and managed the game and probably never looked like losing. It was always going to be a bit of a smash and grab if Italy were to pull up a result. But, Italy, I thought defensively matched up quite well and looked very bright and had some very nice moments. And Ireland were, as I said, I don't think they were ever really at risk of losing. I don't think they were ever panicking. But they had to work really hard for the victory. And that's what you want to see in the Six Nations. You want to see every single game being a really tough game for anyone that wins. We then saw England beat Wales 10 points to 20. Kind of a bit of a slugfest, really. It wasn't champagne rugby by any means. And for me, this is 2 teams under a lot of pressure and probably the 2 teams who have progressed the least in the tournament. Wales came back after a very tumultuous couple of weeks, needed to try and get a victory, needed to try and get a result. But they looked like a side that was almost sort of scared to really try and go and get it. And I think maybe England also maybe the same to a certain degree. Employed very, lots of kicking, lots of up and unders, really tried to sort of use Freddie Stewart to the best of their abilities. And it didn't make for the best of spectacles. But at the end of the day, for England, it's important to get results. And despite going down to Scotland in the first round, back-to-back victories have put them in a much better position. And then what was always going to be the eagerly anticipated match, France versus Scotland, 2 red cards in the match, both deserved. And then France winning 32 points to 21. And Scotland, a bit like Italy, didn't go away, but I think, was just so passive in the beginning stages of the game that the game sort of got away with them. And 22 points to 7 at half-time, it was going to be a massive uphill task to try and, close down a 15-point deficit in the second half. If you look at the second half, for example, Scotland actually winning the second half, 14 points to 10. So they did amount of comeback, but just not enough. But I think, again, very good signs for Scotland. Finn Russell still is looking really good. He's always going to have a couple of bad moments in the game. That's the reality, and that's how play is. But had some very bright moments. Another really good game from him. Hugh Jones looking fantastic. I thought George Turner as well looking really good. I think the Scotland side's actually... I was a bit worried about them in the last year. I thought, the Scotland side's kind of... just sort of fading away a little bit, but I've seen better signs from them in the Six Nations, and I think that they are still quite top side and can be top sides. So let's look at the log, shall we? And this is how it currently looks. So Ireland on the top, and they have 15 points from a possible 15, and at the end of the day, they've been setting the standards. Scotland coming in second place, though, despite that loss, and that is due to a points difference of 23, and that's what I'm saying. Scotland still have to play Ireland. And if we look at the sort of the fixtures, that is going to be the big game, isn't it? 12th of March, put it in your calendar, Scotland versus Ireland. That will define the Six Nations. Scotland then playing Italy. So Scotland have played, have beaten England, hammered Wales, and then just lost to France. So Scotland are very much in the Six Nations hunt, and if they can pull off a world-class performance against Ireland and beat Ireland, who I think at this stage, when it comes to these runs, as good as they are, and they are the best team in the world, I think we can all agree on that. You're always worried about that one game where it doesn't click, and I think Scotland are quite ready to pounce and exploit that. England all of a sudden put themselves in the running as well. They're on 10 points, tied with France. You then got Italy with 1, and Wales with not a single point on the board, which is not what they would need and not what needs to be happening. And I think a lot of off-the-ball issues are to blame. But I think, as I said, the fun thing to look at, and this sort of shows you really, for me, how good Ireland are at the moment. 100 points in 3 games. They're averaging, 33.3 points a game. 49 points against, conceded the least amount of points. They've scored 13 tries and conceded just 4 at the moment. And I think that's quite an important sort of stat there. Points difference at 51, but Scotland as well, scoring tries for fun. And I think that's for me I always enjoy watching Scotland in the critical times, because I think they are an exciting team that do try to play a really fun brand of rugby. I think England have taken. I think you should have you sometimes thought, there's England, but then there's also But at the end of the day, it's weird how they're a side, even when they're not playing particularly well, always there and thereabouts. You always kind of feel, and like when they go into the World Cup, for example, you never sort of want to write them off. And sorry, I actually you're not even seeing the points here. There, the points. You never kind of want to write an English side off, because I do think that they've got the players and the structures to be able to become competitive very quickly. But just not quite where they want to be right now. I think Italy. Yeah, you sort of think that maybe they look, at the end of the day, Italy are playing Wales in the next round, and that's going to be, it's the wooden spoon match. But right now, Italy, I think, will go to that game as favourites. I wouldn't be surprised if Wales win, because I think they're so desperate for a win. I think with 2 weeks now, they can sort themselves out a bit better and get themselves to a better headspace. But Italy at home are proving to be really difficult, and then Italy will be facing Scotland in that final match. France versus Wales. Ireland versus England. So I think that the Six Nations is still quite open, to be honest. I think that Ireland might, the grandstands out there, I think they might drop a game. And if they drop a game to Scotland, for example, and Scotland go up to 14 points, for example, and get a couple of points behind Ireland, if England win their next game and go to 14, 15 points, and Ireland are sitting on sort of 15, 16, Ireland play England in the last game. And all of a sudden you could have Scotland, who will be playing against Italy. They get that victory in their last game, and I think it's the first game as well. Ireland versus England could become a sort of a championship deciding game. So I think the shape is going to be quite an exciting one. And then France, well, at the end of the day, France just need to win their next 2 games against England and Wales, and hope that Ireland drop points. That's their best chance of really defending the title. But let me know what you thought about the round down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.